a lot of times our staff asks this kind of question. What do you think about this diet? What about that diet? What are you doing? What? And it's like, hold on. Do you want my help? Do you just want me to state some facts? Like, I can't get a read for what people want when they ask those questions. And do
you really want my opinion?
And so I answer that. I answer basically the question with kind of that point. Yeah. There's 6 other points in this consensus position stand, but mine always comes around to that point because people often ask it in, is this going to help me lose weight quicker than something else? Because that's what I can hear them saying that's what they care about most.
Yeah.
And so what I deduce from that is when you equate the things that actually matter, like caloric intake or protein intake, let's say, again, those big time outcomes tend to come out in the wash.
So let me make sure I'm understanding the current state of nutritional science. My understanding is that what did you call it? The caloric model of weight
from a while back.
Yeah, something like that. That a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. That when it comes to gaining or losing weight, it's more or less a math problem. Did you eat more than you exerted? Then you're going to gain. Did you exert more than you ate? Then you're going to lose. Is it a deficit or what's the other word?
A surplus.
Surplus. Thank you. Right. But beyond that, when it comes to lifestyle preference or feelings of satiation or other goals like maintaining muscle mass, that there are some things that might be better suited for that than others, and it might be highly individualized. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to weight control and management, it's math. Is that fair?
I think it's fair.
Okay.
But even we could take that into a handful of different directions.
Right, because we're talking about things like NEAT, non-exercise, active thermogenesis.
Yes, and ultimately, if we were to view our bodies more like a combustion engine, like a car, then yes, that's certainly a helpful starting place. Calories in, calories out. What's your total daily, not just your total daily, but what's your total weekly and monthly intake like relative to what you're burning or conserving? So sure, when you match calories for a given diet, generally you're going to see similar amounts of weight loss occur to crystallize your
That's
point.
So going back to the keto thing, it's the 1980s low fat, high carbohydrate diets matched calorie for calorie would have roughly the same results as a keto diet matched calorie for calorie, which would have the same results roughly as a carnivore diet if you wanted to do that.
Yep. And that's if we're just looking at how much weight is somebody losing, gaining, or maintaining.
Right. But there are many other factors to suggest that, hey, you should probably, in the case of carnivore, you should probably eat some vegetables. Some healthy fruits and vegetables would not be a bad idea.
Right. I think that's a great way to launch some of that conversation, because I think it helps initially, again, to understand that calories in, calories out matter. Think about it in a very mechanical sense. That helps. But then just know when you take it a step further, that's where the can of worms opens up. It's certain people, there's a certain genetic predisposition to how you respond to a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. And you're just in these million different signals, your environment, all these things come in, how you maybe you start fidgeting less, or not even just fidgeting less. You start to just you start to move less in general. You're more sedentary to make up for it. And so your body's always
totally subconsciously.
Yes, totally. That's the key point, is people think that a lot of this is in their conscious control. And while I am a proponent of controlling what you can control, there are so many other things at play that I think afford people the grace to understand that we're not combustion engines. Just use that as your fundamental launch point for picking a target of how much to eat.
And so beyond that, when you're picking an eating style, let's stop calling it a diet. When you're picking a way to eat, one of the major factors is what works for you. What is going to help you feel full? What is going to help you avoid the traps of, oh, junk food sounds great right now, or whatever. Taking it out of that math situation and realizing there's a human element to it.
Exactly. Because ultimately the less, and you, I think you aren't I think you're an outlier, as you've been somebody who has been able to, that's right. You've been able to begin tracking calories, weighing food. You do it on the road. You've built a pretty admirable set of skills that not many people can maintain outside of their bubble. So much to fall back on, again, when you are traveling, when you are doing other things, that for a lot of people, they're just never going to get there.
Yeah.
So I like that you said, what style do you ascribe to that's ultimately going to lead you to an amount of calories that you don't have to worry about, but you're always kind of maintaining your weight, or a pound or two starts to come off pretty easily.
Right.
And it's not this overly analytical thing. As much as I would love to tell people to do what you do, download MyFitnessPal, download this tracker or Macro Factor, and just start learning about the amounts that are in foods. Well, for you, that worked great. And you and I connect on that, but there's a lot of people who are like, what?
Yeah, it worked great at 41 years old. After decades of hating what was going on with me, and then being forced by God to sit next to you constantly and hear, oh, wait, so I really could just do this and learn these things and it might actually work. And lo and behold, it worked. But I know you're right. This is a version of me that I never thought I would experience in terms of tracking food and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a major shift.
Right.
But not for everybody.
It is certainly, you have found your style.
Yes.
Because there are elements that I see that there's certain times where, now that you understand the makeups of certain foods, because you stylistically were keto at one point, you were stylistically eating more meat at one point, or whatever it is, now you can mix and match those different things that on a given day, if you got off to a rough start and you were super high in carbs. Well, you know what? I know all the foods and all the things that I need to do by 6, 7 p.m. that can rebalance the scale. So
absolutely.
So, but it has all led you to this. What is it? The Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever. You're completely enlightened.
I've ascended. I have ascended. This is why we talked about this, was that you could talk about how awesome I am.
That's right.
No. So that's fantastic. So there's an official position statement, and the punchline is it's a diet plan. And if you just take care of yourself, it'll be okay. But you can also do it. And that was always one of my gripes with people when they'd say, oh, I'm doing keto. What are you eating? Cheeseburgers without the bun. Bro, that is not keto. That is not how you're supposed to do that. Like, that's not any healthy diet anywhere.